How far would you go to be the greatest chess master on Earth?
I would kill my whole family.
I'd stab someone. Oh, well, okay, your whole family. All right. I was just gonna someone. No, I would not.
I would commit war crimes.
War crimes. Okay.
To be the greatest
mustard gas.
Given that I could not name a single chess player, I would say that I would be willing to wager $200 to be the best chess player, and that's about the extent of my commitment.
What? Okay, so as someone who doesn't know anything about chess, what are like the accolades that you get for being the best chess player in the world? Because I feel like even if I was just like at a bar and it came up and I was like talking to somebody and they were like, "Oh, I'm the best chess player in the world," I think I would be like, "All right."
I think
like, I don't even think that gets you a beer, you know?
I think it's all about just, you know, within the group of the chess world, it's just like I'm the best. But you know, though, if you're out there winning tournaments regularly, you're a millionaire easily.
So he should be buying me a beer then, or
yeah,
or she,
yeah. Oh, totally.
Should be buying me a beer is what I'm
taking.
So,
this just doesn't matter that much to me. So $200 felt like enough of an investment. Like I'm clearly going to get some return on this for money wise, but like I don't care enough to harm anyone or to really like put any effort into this at all, except for maybe my hard-earned money.
So Flo, tell me if you would do this.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, because you got to play in person, have an AI robot, artificial intelligence robot, who knows Magnus Carlsen? Magnus is the greatest player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
This robot knows his moves and how to beat him, sending you the moves in the game in real time through, I would assume, Morse code.
What?
With vibrating anal beads.
Yes, that sounds amazing. I feel like you're getting like sexual pleasure and becoming the greatest.
And you're becoming a millionaire, chess millionaire.
Telling his prostate like rook to h4, like. So this is
would gladly do that.
I am very
over the $200 I wagered. That is like way easier.
I'm very interested in the system of communication.
Yeah.
Could we do the show this way? I guess is one of my first questions.
What if we have like a 5-minute warning when we got to move to the next topic?
It would be a boring podcast. It would just be us being like,
oh my.
Wait.
Totally different podcasts.
Anyway, here's the Patreon info.
Right.
Here's our OnlyFans.
I'm into it. I'm into the ability for sexual stimulation to also allow me to cheat a system and become a millionaire.
It is like a weird kind of unprecedented marriage of being a total fucking nerd but also doing cool sex shit.
Yeah.
Right.
Listen,
this kid is I'm glad that you two are excited about this, because this is one of our own. He lives in San Francisco, I believe.
Oh, okay.
He's a teenager. He has a very spotty background in the chess world. He's been kicked off chess.com for cheating. I think he no longer has an account there.
The bad boys of chess.
Right.
I mean, that checks out with the story that you're telling us.
And so apparently their game was being, aired in real time. And so, what people think is this AI robot was being fed by somebody else the moves and then was sending the perfect move back to him through his prostate.
How did he get caught? Please tell me.
So he didn't get caught. So this is all a scandal. Just like this is what they think happened. And he's pissed off. And he's like, well, I'll fucking play naked. I don't, and like, so nobody knows what to do because Magnus, the world champion's not talking about it, but like multiple people within the chess world think this guy cheated.
Wait, so he has like plausible deniability. Like now I have even more questions.
Yeah.
how could you accuse this guy of this without having enough evidence on your side to where he couldn't just be like, no, I didn't do that. Like how, like, what do you coming to the table with that accusation without like concrete proof this is what is happening?
All of this is shrouded in the diplomacy of the chess universe, and so no one's talking, and this has somehow turned into a mainstream news story, and like people are looking back on this and they're like, how did this even start? But like now very serious people are like talking very seriously about this.
Okay, you know what, this sounds like big chess ginning up controversy to breathe new life into a sport that is generally not in the mainstream discourse.
What if we find a way to just incorporate anal beads to the game,
right? Well, I think
without
that,
cheating?
Honestly, it's the cheapest way to do it, because like I can just imagine this group full of like suits sitting in their boardroom like, man, like chess.com clicks are really down, guys. Not a lot of people are tuning in. How can we fix this? And then you've got some new brash hire, you know, some Gen Z guy, right? Who's like, or gal, who's like,
some kid from San Francisco that's like, hey, this is not my first rodeo.
Right.
Let's incorporate some butt stuff into the world of chess, and that will gin up some clicks. And so, I mean, it seems like if we're talking about it on this show,
we're talking about
three people who don't play chess, or at least I guess you play chess, right, Dave?
Yeah.
But usually without like butt stuff.
Well, depends on who I'm playing.
Well, whatever. We're, you don't have to talk about it right now, but but if we're talking about it, then it seems like it was a fairly successful ploy to just kind of interject some controversy, some intrigue, and also kind of some titillation into a game that otherwise has none of those things.
Ever since Bobby Fischer disappeared, I don't think there's been anything that has rocked the chess world quite like this. So stick with us, folks. Voices River City is back this season, and hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this.
I love it.
Let's do the Patreon plug.
All right. Okay. Do we do it on this side of the intro?
No.
Okay.
That was just a butt plug joke.
So
oh my gosh.
So maybe we cut it. I'm
keeping this in the episode, by the way. Our listeners deserve to hear this part of it.
I totally missed that.
We're getting our plugs crossed.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now that we're back with some hilarious jokes and a little an exclusive peek behind the curtain of us not understanding where each other are trying to take the show, should we start up the first show back?
We should. We really
Pay
should.
no attention to the vibrations in my asshole.
Oh my gosh.
Voices, the things they said. Voices, some from those dead. All the voices heard. Voices, things we say. Voices, they're in your head. All the voices heard.
Oh, hello, everyone. You have Kempa.
And you have Skylar.
And Flo!
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
We are so back. No Shannon today. Shannon will be back. But my dad always said, like, when life, like, roll with the punches. Boy, does she have a lot to roll with lately. But she's rolling. So we love you, Shannon, and we just really want you back. So
yeah, I know we did this on one of the last episodes we did before we left, but I do also at this point, just to build on that, would like to encourage our listeners to reach out to Shannon either through social or just through your good thoughts, and shoot some good energy her way. She's having, without going into any details, she's having a bit of a rough year. And she's one of the best people. Like she's one of these people who like kills herself in the service of others who need it, and does not take very much of that. Doesn't, like a lot of people who do that kind of thing, doesn't give herself that same amount of care, and so it's kind of up to us as a community to make sure that that she knows that she's loved and appreciated and has all the support that she needs. So
yeah, and also we fully encourage Shannon to take care of herself and all the time she needs.
Yes,
we just miss her.
Yeah.
And
Intro wasn't the same without you, Shannon.
yeah,
Oh, God.
Shannon, that was a Shannon intro.
Oh,
Right.
it was 100%.
Yeah.
Oh, who
Shannon,
knows?
I know that wherever you are, you're thinking
Anal
about
beads.
butt plugs and laughing.
Speaking of plugs, folks, I'd like to plug a little thing called patreon.com/voicesrivercity. You can go there and support our show for as little as $5 a month. And in fact, now that we're back, we are doing little mini episodes for patrons only. So here's the deal, folks. We've made one big switch. You might notice. You just open your podcast app. It's a fucking Thursday. What is this
What?
about? Why is Voices here?
That's crazy, Dave.
It is bonkers. But we are switching to Thursday episodes every week. I like this in particular because it makes it so much easier to have the other co-hosts on. And so I don't know, that I think there's a lot of potentially positive things for the Thursday episode, prepping folks for the next week to come, things like that. And then, as I said, on top of that, we will have your occasional premium content that we'll be publishing for our Patreon folks. So please do hop on there. Get to enjoy some of those mini episodes. It might be Skylar and Flo arguing about a movie. It might be, I don't know, like me talking about some anal beads. It might be anything, right? And it could be, obviously we'll stick with some politics stuff too. There's a lot going on locally and in the state, so there's a lot to cover, and we are so rested and ready to get into it. One little thing before we do get into it, we want to do little monthly hangouts with our Voices listeners and viewers. If you are a patron this time around, we will be doing a hangout on the second Friday of October. Skylar, what date is that?
October 14th.
Yes, 14th. We have not decided a location yet. This one is for patrons. We will be doing some that are just for everybody, but again, become a patron, hang out with us. This is a wild election season, so much going on. Like, come have fun with us. Am I missing anything? Should we move on?
No, I think the only thing that I would add is that ideally these are going forward. These hangouts will be the second Fridays of each month.
Yeah.
So this would be an ongoing hang.
Yeah, I think that was your idea, to have some continuity here on when it is and when folks should expect it.
I do love continuity and predictability.
And a second Friday, there's no alliteration, so nobody else is doing anything, right? Mm-hmm. There's no like first Fridays, there's no second Saturday. Like, it's second Friday. That's just us being bad with alliteration. That's when we have our hang.
I'm gonna find a way to make that into an alliteration, but I don't have it yet.
Third Thursday. What?
Fourth Friday.
Oh,
well, no, because
wow.
it's the second Friday.
I know.
People usually do first.
Yeah, first Friday, fourth Friday.
But that's why we're doing it on the second Friday, because people do things during the first Friday. So you don't have to choose between whatever those idiots are doing and hanging out with us.
Precisely. Hang out with these idiots. So now that we're done hashing through that, let's talk today about United Farm Workers. I don't know where to be. Why don't I just give a little history on them? But basically, United Farm Workers is
UFW for short.
Yeah, they're called UFW. They are truly one of the nation's most famous unions.
Mm-hmm.
They were created in 1972, so we're on actually the 50-year anniversary. It says they were founded in 1962. Maybe I got that wrong. I read 1972. Oh, they were accepted into the AFL-CIO in 1972.
There we go.
And they are a marriage between the Agricultural Workers Organization Committee, led by Larry Itliong. I believe this was a mostly Filipino farm workers group, and the National Farm Workers Association, led by César Chávez and Dolores Huerta. And that was primarily Latino. This was an incredibly powerful group during its heyday. During its heyday, I believe they had about 70,000 members in the 70s. They are incredibly storied as well because of the leadership of, of course, Chavez. We still talk about, what he did. He did the original march, right? From Delano, California, all the way up to Sacramento. I believe that was, years before they even created this union. I think that was in 1966, or at least before they became AFL-CIO. Dolores Huerta, I think a lot of lefties in the Sacramento region know her. She's still around. She's still kicking, and she's a lovely woman, and she's been fighting the good fight for years and years and years. But this union has fallen on kind of harder times, right? Unions in general in America have. And membership has been down across the board, but membership for the farm workers has been particularly challenging for probably a lot of obvious reasons, right? There's high turnover at particular farms. If English is your second language, if you're undocumented, you can be somewhat easily intimidated by your bosses and their security. They can threaten you with deportation, with handing you over to ICE, right? So it's a very delicate group of workers for whom it is remarkably difficult to organize, but for whom it's also remarkably important. Is this a good background?
Mm-hmm.
I would say so.
I would say great one.
Can someone tell me what's been happening the last year or two with these farm workers?
Well,
basically they're pushing legislation, right?
Yes, they're pushing legislation to basically be able to vote and participate, in unions. And this is really important because if they're not able to, to participate, then they're not able to unionize, which is part of the reason why their membership has been low. And so there's a bill that we are, we're really hoping that Gavin Newsom is going to sign, but is indicating that he, had no intention of signing, that would allow them to be able to vote by mail in some of the union elections. And essentially the anti-labor folks are like, no, why would we want to help you be able to participate in this way? But we recognize that there are a whole host of factors that play into whether or not people can, the importance, first of all, of participating in union activities and union votes. It is especially high for people who are largely undocumented and are often exploited for their labor by their employers. And so this is a really, really important, of all the, and I don't mean to minimize any other unions, but of all the unions that exist, right, this is one where we certainly know that the labor practices tend to be on the side of exploitation more than actual employment. And so we really want to make sure that they are able to come together and be able to fight for their rights and work together to ensure workplace protections.
Now, hold on. I thought we lived in California, and I thought California was a largely Democrat state. Not only largely, don't they have like a super duper majority in
They
both
are.
sides of the legislature? Don't we have a Democratic governor?
They do,
And
and they are.
so when I think of this, I've been told most of my life that Democrats are the party of labor. So what's going on here? Because I heard
Not just that, right? But we also have our extremely democratic progressive governor has loudly been decrying abuse and using immigrants as political pawns, as we've been seeing lately. So he's been kind of making a big show about how fucked up it is to misuse immigrants, and then also make like threatening to veto something that would help them save themselves from that misuse. So.
Listen, he's all talking points and no action, because we are all being held hostage by the fact that Gavin Newsom wants to be president, and is banking on the fact that Joe Biden is probably not going to run again in 2024. And he's hoping to moderate himself enough that he will be able to play on the national stage. So as a consequence, instead of California just being able to be California and do and him being able to be a thought leader here and push for this, because let's not pretend that California is some utopia and that the Democratic leadership actually wants this. But Gavin could, but he is not, and I will say this on the record, content with being tall, white, cisgendered, male, and rich. And by probably a consensus opinion, good looking. He also has to have the audacity, because it's never in short supply, of wanting to become president. And so we are all stuck having to watch him placate to people who will never vote for him, while he doesn't do good things in California, because he can't be content just being the leader of the sixth largest economy on the freaking planet. He has to also want to be president. So that's where we are. And so
Doesn't he also,
watching him do stuff is just that.
Sorry to cut you off there, Flo. Isn't he also the owner? Like, he is a grower himself, right?
Yes, he is a co-founder of a winery that just bought I believe a $14.5 million vineyard in the Napa area. So, you know, the big people against this are I believe it's the ag industry and the Growers Association. So, you know, I would wonder if, you know, this guy who got in trouble during COVID, dining in Napa, you know, with a bunch of these friends in this space.
At the French Laundry, which is the least appetizing name for a restaurant, by the way. I just want to French Laundry. I don't care if it's French. It still sounds like Dirty Draws. Okay, let's just be honest.
The German car wash.
I would eat at Dirty Draws. I would. I'm okay.
Stay out of that chess talk.
All right, got to keep on the ball here. But yeah, so you know, California did pass a similar bill last year. You know, these farm workers have been pushing for their rights to organize in a way that actually makes sense for a while, right?
Yep.
And little by little, their rights have been pushed away, where, you know, you have to vote at a place of your boss's choosing and of their, you know, determination on where and when, and then they're going to intimidate all your workers. This has been the dynamic, and this is why they're afraid to have elections, right? In a lot of these growing spaces. What they want to do is pass a bill that allows them to have a different dynamic, right? Be able to hold their election either at a third party space or to do
vote by mail.
Vote by mail. And we've got Governor Newsom saying like, oh no, I don't know if I trust vote by mail. And it's like, motherfucker, like ask our Secretary of State in this state, Shirley Weber, Dr. Weber. She's been making it so easy for all of us to vote by mail. So why is there a different standard for our farm workers?
I honestly, that's my favorite part of this entire thing is how flimsy all of the arguments against this are. It's all, and like everything that I've read is like, so-and-so who owns several farms that thousands of these workers, are on, says, man, this will really be bad for those workers. We shouldn't do it, Or my other favorite is they're like trying to discredit the UFW by pointing out that like how much less of a membership they have now than they did in their heyday. And it's kind of like, after like your decades of union busting and like fighting against this kind of thing have been successful. So congratulations. Right. We're trying to end that now. And it's just like these guys are all but just being like, yeah, but that, that will I feel like that would cut into my profit margin. And so because of that, I'm just going to go ahead and not only come out against this, but donate, however much money they're donating to kill it. So I don't know.
Greed knows no bounds.
It's very, I don't know. It's very, usually they at least make like, at least a weak argument against these kinds of things, but they don't even really seem like they have that in this case. That doesn't, and like Newsom being like, oh, I don't know, this seems like a really convoluted thing. And it's, there's some facets to this that might be, that might not work out or whatever with this whole mail system. Is just, it's so like, I don't know. It's very flaccid.
Totally flimsy. No, let's try and bring it to today a little bit then. Like, so last year, actually, an iteration of this bill did pass. Enough Democrats did pass a bill, put it on Newsom's desk to sign, and he vetoed it. Yep. And he's like, well, I don't know about the processes. We got to make sure there's integrity to the voting process and this and that. And so they actually did, even though he was full of shit, all of his, arguments were full of shit. They actually went back and they did make some changes to the bill. They passed it easily this year, for UFW. And they made enough changes. Now, he still had some issues after they made the changes, and he was actually hinting that I'm still not going to sign it. I don't know if you all saw that.
Yep.
And so Assembly Member Mark Stone, Democrat from Santa Cruz, wrote the UFW bill. This is from a SACB article from September 12th by Matthew Miranda. Now I've lost my spot again, of course. Welcome back, folks. So Assemblymember Stone has negotiated with the governor to address concerns. These amendments include allowing ALRB, that's the Agricultural Labor Relations Board, to handle and mail all ballots, right? So this is a foolproof process now. Like, hey, we've got this official labor dynamic, like mail to them and we can count the votes, right? So this circumvents all of his bullshit concerns. And this bill has a sunset date now of January 1st, 2028. So even if it passes now, it sunsets, it ends in basically like 5 years after it goes into
it would have to be reapproved. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And it also gives them time to fine tune it, right? Fine tune the process. But for us to get mail-in ballots, like we didn't have to fine tune that. We just started getting our mail-in ballots, right? And I wonder where this double standard is, like why they think that farm workers would cheat on a mail-in election, but they don't think we would, right? Go ahead.
It's almost as if that isn't a real concern that they actually have.
It's not a real concern. This is the argument you make when you're losing, right? Like, I mean, the only reason Republicans are making it is not because they actually believe nationwide that there's voter fraud. It's because they're losing. And the same thing is true here, that they feel like they're going to lose something. And so they don't want it to happen. And they're willing to make any argument to be able to support it. And I just think it's really interesting that, Newsom kind of fashions himself as this like rising, national star. And then the Democratic Party has come in nationally, you know, with some of its bigger hitters and actually have come out in support of this.
Yeah, so he
with
said,
good talking points, right? Like, I mean, President Biden's talking points are exactly the reasons why Newsom should sign this bill.
yeah, so Flo, you just mentioned Biden came out. The president came out and supported this bill. So I don't even know if we've named the bill yet. Have we? Assembly Bill 2183? Maybe we have.
2183, yes. I hope we did.
And so when this went through to the governor's desk, he was already implying he was going to veto it again. Already. And so you know what UFW did? They rallied together a bunch of folks, a bunch of farm workers and their allies down in Delano, California, right?
Yep.
And they said, we're going to do the same march that César did, you know, over half a decade or half a century ago.
Yep.
And we're going to march to Sacramento, and we're going to stay there effectively until he signs this bill. Many, many people participated in this. Some people only in part of it, you know, whatever. But like multiple folks did the full 350-mile walk, 350 fucking miles. It was, I believe, 24 days of marching to Sacramento in triple-digit heat. UC Davis, I believe, like medical folks were stopping and helping folks with like their blisters and like, you know, all the problems you'll get with your legs for walking hundreds and hundreds of miles. Like this was like a really incredible feat, right? And meanwhile, while they're doing that, we had this assembly member, you know, working to try and get Newsom to come around to this a little bit, right? Mark Stone. And so they reached a couple of those little things. And yet, and this is before Biden even came out, you know, in support of these farm workers who just like, they are unimpeachable. Like their cause is unimpeachable. Newsom was still like, well, I've got one thing. I don't know if I can sign it because of this one thing. And this is that Newsom had requested that the bill include a requirement for the employers, right, his buddies now, to receive an advance notice of the specific date of a union election. Now, what are our thoughts on that?
Why? So they can intimidate them? Like, you're not part of the union. Why do you need to be notified? Like, this is not that. First of all, if we're voting by mail, why do you need to know?
Yeah.
I don't see how it.
I don't understand how that's any of your business.
Exactly.
Now,
you're not in the union. It's vote by mail. Why do you need to know the date?
Their argument is, well, this is the national standard. You know, national labor standards are that you let them know. Is it the rule? No, but it's the standard.
Yeah, well, I mean, national labor standards in this country are a pretty fucking low bar,
correct,
compared to where they could be.
Right.
Correct.
Also, these are farm workers. These are like the most vulnerable working population, right? Like, they're not insured. They like, if you're undocumented, like, you know, many folks have them just like holding that over their heads, right? Their bosses.
And so now you know when the election, you're required by law to be notified of the election, so you have a timeline for intimidation of your already exploited workers.
Yeah, bring an ICE van out or something. Like, fuck that. Fuck that.
Kick rocks. No, absolutely not. That is, it's a silly proposition that is rendered moot on its face if we're having a vote by mail election, especially. So like the whole point of this is we're saying allow people the flexibility to be able to vote whenever, then it's really none of your business when these votes are happening.
Right.
Yep. Well, and then so as Flo said, the president came out in support of the workers, which is just incredible. You know, I'm not a Biden fan by any stretch of the imagination, but it's great that he did this, right? He
But I
tends to
think there's a
support the
reason.
existence of unions.
Yeah,
I
isn't
think
this some
there's-
kind of like spat that he's having with Newsom?
I think there's a little bit of a like, hey, you know, like, you know, you're the new kid on the block, you're the young handsome fella, and I'm gonna show you how, you know, an old dog still has new tricks. But I also
Honestly, that sounds exactly word for word like something that Biden would say.
Have you been studying Brandon the entire break?
Do you have his office bugged? Because that was weirdly similar to something a 90-year-old man would say.
Yes, exactly.
Unironically.
I know you're taking a stand-up class, Flo, but like, are you considering impressions?
But I you know, I mean, it's interesting because the article in the Bee about this, you know, said, but underlying Biden's involvement is the tension between an unpopular incumbent, Biden, and a rising national Democratic star, which is, you know, Newsom. And and he said Newsom has criticized party leadership for failing to aggressively push back against Republican policies on abortion, climate change, and other issues. And so Biden supported the bill as a little pushback of his own, some political professionals say. So
I think it rules that like Biden and Newsom are having this like, you're more of a lib. No, you're more of a lib.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Spat. Yeah, I mean, it would be more awesome if there weren't like the labor rights of like thousands of people who like really need this to go through in the mix. But like
human lives in the balance,
you know,
right?
The way that things work around here, you got to take your wins or you can get them.
Yeah. Well, and so Biden came out in support, and Nancy fucking Pelosi, who is like, she's like the only more powerful Democrat in San Francisco than Gavin Newsom, and then like came out in support, and then Harris as well, the vice president. So it's like there's a lot of clout behind this, and now it kind of does look like there's a lot of pressure, and like they might have done this for their own political gains, but like for the interests of improving the material conditions of the workers here, it's like, well, this is a great fucking thing. And
Right.
so you're kind of thinking like, even if he vetoes this, like this follows him for fucking ever. And you know what's going to happen? UFW comes back next year and they pass it again.
Yep.
And just like, I just feel like
I think another thing that he's counting on, his people are banking on, is that he did that thing with the fast food workers that he is thinking is going to get him enough political capital with labor that he can veto this thing and still get that support.
yes,
Which I think,
you know, I've had some interactions with labor leaders lately, and I can see them being a little shitty on something like that. But
and
hopefully
I think like
it's not
that
enough.
there might have been a thing that it might have been a good political calculation before the federal politicians jumped in, and then before it now everybody knows about it. You know, now everybody's talking about it. Tom Morello was here today.
Who's
now
Tom
it's
Morello
big.
for Maureen in Florida?
Tom Morello is the guitar player from a band you may know called Rage Against the Machine. Popular back when I was considered to be cool. So I have a lot of fondness and nostalgia.
There's a gleam in your father's eye.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I don't want to sidetrack us too much, but I did go there today and saw that. It was very cool.
Yeah.
It was actually like it was not just cool because it was Tom Morello, but he wasn't doing his Rage Against the Machine thing. He brought like an acoustic guitar and was singing old Union songs and like Woody Guthrie and stuff. But it was very, very cool because everybody was singing along and kind of like he wasn't like on a stage. He was just like in the crowd. Everybody was singing, and then
I mean, that's cool.
Newsom walked out in a "Let's Go Brandon" t-shirt, and everybody dispersed. So
yeah. He was playing Lee Greenwood,
Newsom walked out
Not a
with
Let's
Ted
Go
Nugent.
And I'm
Brandon.
proud to be Gavin Newsom, because at least I know I'm rich.
Yeah, he walked out to Fortunate Son in a Let's Go Brandon t-shirt.
Oh man, just flipping off the crowd. Yeah. Well, that's cool about Morello. He came back when I was in Occupy in New York. He came down regularly and he did this like little Occupy Army thing, and like clearly they're not playing, like you said, the rage faves with these acoustic guitars, but I don't know. I do think it is an injection of energy, and I think that I saw a couple clips today of him talking, and he went at Newsom. It was like,
Oh,
it
he's
was
a cool guy.
inspiring
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. He's. I mean, all of those guys have been on the right sides of these things for a million years, which is like part of the reason why. I think part of the reason why, like guys like me who are like basically at middle age are still like into these guys, because you kind of like it when you're a teenager because it rocks, and then you like it when you're later on in life because you're like, oh, these guys were like saying a bunch of really cool shit that I like didn't really pick up on all the way when I was in high school.
Yeah. Well, then like you're like Tim Ryan Republicans are still listening to it and not knowing
for
what
sure.
they're actually
Well,
saying.
the Republicans don't have anybody like that. Like I said, they have like Ted Nugent and Kid Rock,
Mm-hmm.
and
Well, I said Lee Greenwood. I think that.
Oh yeah. No, I know.
Who's the boot in
I
your
heard
ass
people
guy?
saying today. I heard people talking today, like they were like bummed that he wasn't like doing rage songs, and I was like, okay, so this is like a 60-year-old man. Do you really want a 60-year-old man to like rap while playing an acoustic guitar? Like, is that?
I mean,
Well, that
they
was
need to
Zach's
reach out
job
to my
too, right?
demographic, because I know some of these names, but my music listening, more than probably any other aspect of my life, is incredibly Black elder millennial. Like I'm
I love
in
that
a
about you.
I am in a space, and like that is what I know. So I'm like, I couldn't name you a Ted Nugent song if you like forced me to.
I don't know if
Cat
I
Scratch
could.
Fever.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay. I mean, just like, we're gonna lose Patreon if I admit this, but I probably couldn't name you like 5 Elvis Presley songs. Like when it comes to music, I'm just incredibly Black.
You've got your
guys, we
90s.
talked about this. We weren't going to attack the boomers anymore. And you can't even make it like half an hour without disgrace. Especially
I can run you
coming
through
right
the
off of this
Temptations' entire
incredible
catalog.
movie that just
Like
came out.
Sam Cooke, like I can give you, I mean, today is Earth, Wind, and Fire Day. Happy September 21st to everyone. Like I can give you all of
yesterday.
I can do like oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, when we recorded it, it was September 21st. Sorry. But like, I can give you like the catalog of just like the last 3 generations of like mostly Black music. And then everything else, I'm just like, uh-huh.
Well, I mean, if
like
if
it's
all of those
not,
guys,
like,
all of those artists
20?
though are like famous for basically just mimicking what Elvis was doing. That's music historians will tell you that Elvis invented that kind of music, and then Black artists kind of took
Black
it.
artists are like, actually,
he finally gets canceled. This is the episode.
When as soon as we get into that, I'm just like, Bruce Springsteen. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's an artist. I'm aware of that. I could not name you.
Well, our confluence flow is like 90s and early aughts rap and R&B. Like
correct.
Just yeah.
Correct.
And I think just about any listener can
the more Southern, the better for me, right? Yeah. Like I'm just like, yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about labor
is it public information that Flo is in a DMX video? So that's a little Easter egg for you listeners. Here's the hints that I'm not going to tell you the name of the song or who else is in the video. I'll tell you DMX is one of the people in the song, and it takes place at a sorority house. Mm-hmm. So those are your hints. If you watch the right video, you will see Flo dancing around next to DMX.
Find her LinkedIn, find out where she went to school. You'll be able to glean the rap scene from there. Mm-hmm.
I love this so much.
That was what? Oh my God. We've totally gotten off track, but
We've totally
the first time I saw that video, I was like, what? I was like, Flo's hot.
I love all of this. Yeah. I just, you're supposed to live an interesting life, and I have.
That'll be a special episode. We'll go through that video.
I think the special episode should be Flo teaching us to do like the choreography to the dances that she's doing.
Sadly, I do still know it.
I feel like we had more to talk about on this topic. Oh yeah, we were at Tom Morello, right?
We were at Tom. Yes,
but we should probably go back before Tom Morello.
Yeah.
Okay.
So go.
So the early rage days. Where am I going?
I
don't know.
I don't know.
This is how I can tell that the break was good for us, because we're all so relaxed that we're like,
what are we talking about?
Why even keep a line of thought here, right?
I mean, I've taken a lot of Xanax today.
I think I think
this cab is delicious.
Kind of the next conversation is, where is it at today and what comes next, right?
Right.
So all of these mainstream Democrats are now leaning on him. You can't even call them progs. Like, these are dyed in
right. You can't.
Moderates.
Yep.
These are like some of the most hardcore capitalists like in Washington.
And this puts Newsom in an incredibly uncomfortable position, because if he doesn't sign this follows him. This follows him to the Democratic primaries when he's running for president. And you can't be the union guy when you vetoed this twice.
No,
Yeah.
you cannot.
This will sink the man.
Yeah.
And I mean, I hope it does if it comes to that, but it's like, what I really hope is that he fucking signs this thing.
Yeah, more. I mean, I don't care about his resume builder. I really care about these farm workers having the ability to be able to participate in unions and having the flexibility that especially people who grow our food and who work in, really inhospitable conditions, and are often like kind of, I guess the best way to describe it is off the grid, should be able to have the flexibility of voting. But like, it's like, of all the people who should be able to do this, like, this seems especially important for this union. And I just, it really defies logic why we deny them this, other than the fact that capitalism is going to capitalism.
It's yeah.
I mean, I will say this: capitalism so far seems to be going great. So,
it has that on its side.
It has that. We should let them see it all the way through, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I worked at a winery for a couple years, and first as an intern during crush season, and then afterwards, like, doing comms. And I just, like, first of all, you see two very different sides, two very different worlds. And the folks working in the fields and in the, the winemaking process, it's just totally different. And it was just really fucked up to me, sort of like work parties and stuff. And like, it's hard to describe. It felt like almost like a caste system, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, the only reason I was really able to like hang out on the other side was like because I spoke Spanish and like got to just like become tight friends with folks. But it's like, I think this system exists throughout our state, right?
Mm-hmm.
And throughout our country.
Mm-hmm.
And like, we need to take the first steps to breaking that, right? And this seems like it feels like a really good first step. We were actually really trying hard to get someone with UFW on the show, but we had, well, first of all, it's like a crazy day for all of them because Tom Morello was here, and I think they're,
He probably still is. They're probably partying over there right now.
they probably are. Yeah. By the way, folks, they're at the south by the south steps of the Capitol. Basically, you'll see them if you walk over there, the state Capitol building in California, in Sacramento. They're super nice, they're super fun. I'm super bummed we couldn't swing it to get them on the show, but it's like the technical aspects of it were just too wonky for us. But one thing I would say as a call to action is go down to the Capitol, talk to them, get to know them. It is such an incredibly good fight. And probably there's some other more traditional calls to action here, probably calling Gavin Newsom's office, talking to your senator or assembly member and asking them to lean on him. But I mean, these are folks that dealt with the hottest of the hot weather, and if you live in Sacramento, and then like suddenly it got cold real fast, and then it was raining a lot, and like and these are like real ones who are there day in and day out, and they're not fucking going anywhere until he signs this, or well, even if he doesn't at the end of 30 days, like they are fucking resolute. So this episode publishes on Thursday, September 22nd. Just over a week left, it will be for Governor Newsom to sign it. So I'd say those two things as a call to action, like go visit them and push Newsom. Anyway,
I think just like support workers in general, right? I mean, these are the folks. These are literally, I mean, there's a lot of metaphors that get made about putting food on your table. These are the folks who are actually out there doing it. There's like the service they provide is worth so much more than they get compensated for.
They're the farm and the farm to fork. So
exactly.
And the amount their bodies have to go through, and
with no insurance, no benefits, no. Hospitable conditions, that we can't allow them to be able to vote by mail, like.
Right.
Make it make sense.
Yeah.
So crush Gavin Newsom.
Gavin just needs to be called out for his utter nonsense, because his talking points are great, but his policies leave a lot to be desired.
Isn't this comms guy like one of the best comms guys in the game? Anthony York, like what is going on here? This is so flimsy.
That's why his comms are cool, but like his actual policies are not. And I think that's where I really struggle with him as a governor, is he's all talk and not a lot of substance behind it. And I really just wish that we could get, I think it's hard to get someone who's willing to run for higher office, who actually cares enough about the policy and to be able to keep their ego in check enough to be able to do good work without like having this be a stepping stone to something else. I would just hope that, California deserves a governor that's not trying to be president. And I think that's the part that's frustrating. And I just don't see what the play is here. Like, so you screw over labor locally, and then you go national and say what? Like, I did it so that the cost of food wouldn't rise. I'm trying to think through, like, there has to be some political strategy to this beyond just your own pockets, because if you genuinely want to be president, you would lighten your pockets a bit so that you could like advance. So I don't know.
Light pockets make it difficult to advance, right?
But his pockets aren't going to get that light. I mean, we're talking about a union vote here.
Yeah.
Like I'm just struggling to see the play 100 yards out. Like the 5-yard play makes sense to me for him, but it seems like you're being penny wise and pound foolish.
I kind of think there's a longer history here. Like, I think that he comes from the San Francisco aristocracy, and UFW has been a thorn in the side of a lot of these hyper rich San Franciscans for a long time. And probably parents and uncles and grandparents, and we have this like wildly rich farmer, like mega farm class now in California that's going to
Yes.
be a real problem. And like, I think he's all a part of that, and he knows that history, and I think he just doesn't like UFW.
I get that, but do you want to piss off San Francisco or be president? Like it just feels like you either, or I should say, do you want to placate San Francisco or be president? Because San Francisco isn't winning national elections. I think
he needs to sign this fucking bill.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, even if your goal is to be president, this seems like a no-brainer. And so that's where I'm struggling with the like.
Well, especially now that everybody's watching it, right? Like,
right.
I mean, so it wasn't like this a month ago or whatever. Like it has a lot more eyes on it right now than it did until recently. Which I think.
So what's the play? This is his anti-immigration stance. Like, I'm trying to figure out, how does this play nationally in a way that helps him?
I tend to think that he is a person of horrible ego, and that he will let the ego drive the decision and then try to find the answer after the fact and try and make it sound very reasonable and tempered. Like, hey, Jerry Brown said go left sometimes, go right other times, and we're good, right? Like, I that's what I think he is. I think he's just, it's ego and it's pettiness.
He's also running for president in a country full of voters who are like vehemently opposed for voting in their own self-interest. So he's got that going for him as well.
Yeah, but do you piss off labor?
And especially with the trajectory we're going, where people are organizing in ways that we haven't seen in decades.
He is a California Democrat. So there are, like, yes, people vote against their interests, but there's a whole sector of the population that's just not going to vote for him because of that.
Yeah.
Like, he's not Donald Trump. So yes, he's a rich white dude, but they're not lining up to support him. They're certainly not lining up to support the guy who's in favor of Prop 1, which is a constitutional amendment to protect the right to contraception and abortion. So you've already you've already gotten them off your, like, I'm really trying to think through the play here in terms of, like, whose votes do you pick up that you don't already have, and who do you possibly alienate by doing this? Like, I can't make, like, politically, I can't make, normally I can make it make sense, even if it doesn't make sense. Like, this one, I literally can't figure out what the play is. It seems like you either want to be cool with your friends or you want to be president.
That's what it is.
I mean, your friends or business interests, right? Like, he probably wants to look like he's super friendly to fucking.
But you're not going to get both. Like, so you're deciding now to put a nail in the coffin of your presidency bid, or are you hoping that our memories are so short that union labor is not going to blast you about this?
I think he's hoping that. People are dumb and he can smile and that'll be it.
The rest of the country ain't California, boo.
It's true.
Like, they're not gonna line up behind you just because you're cute and there's a Republican recall. Okay. The rest of that's not all right.
Will he make the gamble though? Yeah. I say fucking sign it.
Win silly prizes, Gavin. Play silly games, win silly prizes.
Oh, it's good to be back.
Well, speaking of making a gamble, if I wanted to wager 5 of my hard-earned dollars.
Vote no on 27. Oh, sorry, that you weren't talking about that gambling. My bad.
That as well. Oh yeah, no, I should have made that joke. Damn it! Now you derailed me, Dave. I got $5.
It's our first time back. We're getting back.
I want to really take I want to have a wild risk with this $5. I really what I'm looking for. Say I feel as if I'm on a riverboat casino and I only have $5 and I'm looking to stretch it for as long as I can and get the most fun out of this $5. And so if I'm on this riverboat, right? Because this metaphor is working for everybody. So
Definitely working.
Okay, great.
I'm
so riverboat.
I'm confused.
Okay. So I'm having a great time.
Okay.
We're having drinks. People are winning big. A lot of cheering and clapping. Smoking inside. Everybody loves that.
Love that. Yeah.
Right, but I only have $5. And what I'm trying to do is get the most out of my $5 that I possibly can on this riverboat. So, Dave, go.
Yeah, I think that's a great lead in, and I've got a lot to work with here. So, on this riverboat we call life, we're all just trying to figure it out and
this
and
riverboat we call life. What is happening?
Gambling riverboat.
Okay, all right.
I tend to try and seek out things that will just kind of guide me along the way, and there's one thing to me that I would consider to be the $5 vibrating AI anal beads of navigating through this world, and that would be a $5 a month subscription to Voices River City's Patreon. That's patreon.com/voicesrivercity. You can get that subscription, plop down at that blackjack table, and it will let you know exactly the right move every time your cards come up. That's the best I got with that one. We're all a little rusty this week.
Very good. Good job, Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Who is a tall, drunk stranger there?
Negative Ghost Rider,
is
the
his
pattern is full.
companion. I can't believe I know that. My dad sang that song all the time. Anyway, we are Voices River City, folks. Become a patron. Please hang out with us if you do become a patron on the second Friday of October. We're looking forward to that hang with our patrons. And like I said, we're going to have some special Patreon only content, which we hadn't had in recent months. So we're excited to start that up again. Come to our site, voicesrivercity.com. You'll be able to see our videos. We do YouTube as well. We're on all social platforms. On top of that, we got a store, voicesrivercity.com/shop. And you can get all the little merch. There's a White Claw koozie. There's a shirt. There's, we got other things. We got stickers. It's fun.
I think we need, can you throw, if you're listening to this, tweet at us with some other suggestions of things that we could brand. Anal beads.
There we go. Yeah.
All right. Flo, you're in charge of looking up branded anal beads.
Mm-hmm.
I think we need Voices River City vibrators, actually.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like the same guy probably makes both of those things.
Probably.
Right?
Yeah, we should just do a whole sex toy shop.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. We're gonna have a good season.
Yeah. we're all about your pleasure at Voices River City.
Mm-hmm.
We just want to please our listeners. Okay, well I'd say let's wrap this one. Anybody else have anything to say?
No, I am ready to take off these nipple clamps and blow on the dice and get this night going.
All right. Gonna get out of my fuck swing and call it a night.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
Well,
we love you, Shannon.
Love you, Shannon.
We also love all of you. who are listening to this, and even though COVID is over, according to the president, but even though we're completely out of danger with that, we love you and we want you to stay safe.
Stay sane.
Stay healthy.
And come out the second Friday of next month and hang out with us.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'd love that.
Yes,
All
we
right.
would.
Bye-bye.